All right. I think we're going. Will I ever stop saying that? Who knows? I can't seem to stop myself from saying that phrase. Check 1, 2, 3. I suppose I can start with that too. Anyway, welcome back to another one of these things. Hope you're doing lovely today on this wonderful Friday evening at this point where I'm at. It feels like it's darker like here for some reason. Like there's just not as much light bouncing as I'm used to seeing. Got a light up here, light over there, light over there. So usually doing okay, but for some reason it looks a little darker here today for some reason. Not sure why. Anyway, today, I think it felt kind of like it just sort of went by. Nothing too sort of looking for eventful going on. Just kind of a normal kind of thing. Hopefully today was just normal or fantastic for you as well. Not sure too much to add to that. So I was thinking about today was it's been a while since I just grabbed an amiibo off the shelf and just kind of talked about which one of the games that they're from and like the impact that it had on me, or just my history with it, or like impact, or like game design lessons learned. Usually it's a bit of grab bag of stuff whenever I start talking about that. Like I said, I don't have like any of this really playing out other than the one that I know I grabbed today. But yeah, we'll see kind of where the little conversation takes us. Today I decided to, well, since I've been like catching up on some speed runs from HEDQ, one of the ones that I'm watching started today was Pokemon Platinum. So I thought I'd just go ahead and grab a Pikachu. Could have grabbed like a bunch of different things. There's a number of Pokemon in the... Okay, there we go. Oh, nope. I think I'm still trying to concentrate on my face. It's not like focusing on Pikachu very well. Focus! 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 It's gonna get you. Yeah, it's not even trying anymore. Completely gone behind it. We'll stop trying to do that. I don't know if that's gonna be the thumbnail. If it catches that, that'd be kind of weird. Hopefully not. We'll kind of leave it here, talking about it a little bit. Anyway, so Pokemon. This is kind of one of those games that's interesting. It's like it's one of the first few things that I started liking just of my own volition, or wanted to like of my own volition. Like a lot of games that I've been playing up until like this point in my childhood were things that were like my parents already had or had gotten me. I never really asked for games. They just sort of were there, and I just played with what was around. Especially for like the NES era, that was like whatever my dad already had, I just played. I never asked for new games for the NES. I was too young. And kind of the same happened for the Sega Genesis. I mentioned before with the Donkey Kong discussion that I didn't have a Super Nintendo. I had a Sega Genesis and had I think I had only one Sonic game. I think 2 Sonic games. One of them was Sonic Spinball, just freaking awesome. Go play that game. The other was Sonic and Knuckles, surprisingly. All the other ones I never had, actually, surprisingly. I love Sonic growing up, so it's kind of interesting that I had like just Sonic and Knuckles like growing up and didn't have any of the cartridges that you put in there to play Knuckles in those other games. But this ain't about Sonic. That was just to kind of set the stage there. I didn't have a Game Boy. There were other people playing the game at school, and they had their Game Boys with them, and I was like, that actually looks really cool. And for my birthday, I can't remember what year it was. I was still in grade school at the time. It might have been like 5th grade, maybe. That's probably 5th grade. I think it was 5th grade. When I was like, it'd be really cool if I had that. And I asked for my birthday. And I got Pokemon Red and a green Game Boy Pocket. And I was the most probably unresponsive birthday person ever. Like my family was over, and I literally just, as soon as I got that, I plugged the dang thing into the wall and I sat there for the rest of the night playing Pokemon Red. And I have like so many just fond memories, or just, it's not even memories, it's just feelings of nostalgia thinking back to that time. I spent so much time just learning all of the ins and outs about that game. I feel like that's just a recurring thing with me when I was a kid. Like, I just really liked playing something to the point that I knew it like the back of my hand. Probably why speedrunning is even like remotely interesting to me. Like at this age, quite a distance between 5th grade and 32 or 33. I can't remember how old I am. Anyways, that's a different story for another day. But like, I really enjoyed just being in that game's world and just catching whatever was there and raising all of my Pokemon to level 100 and just completely owning the Elite Four. It didn't take me like terribly long to do that, but that sort of just started me down my path of basically needing to play every generation of Pokemon that's ever come out. I still do to this day, even if like some of them have been kind of lackluster compared to other ones. Just that first experience with Pokemon when I was growing up was just so immensely immersive to me. Like, I was able to just, despite it being just a little screen in my hands, it was very easy for me just to completely lose sense of my surroundings while I was playing that game. And I just loved all the weird sounds and just the concept of battling and trading. Like when I was in 5th grade doing this, like it was very common for like I had been talking with one of my classmates about it. He had the game for a while, and I was like, "What are you playing? It looks super cool." So it was Pokemon. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to get that." And like, I was like so infatuated with watching him play that as soon as I got it and like had like a team that was like good enough to battle, that we'd do that all the time. That's when we're not friends or didn't become friends or anything or keep talking afterwards, but like our classmates just loved watching us battle these things. And it was just kind of an interesting sight. It's like everyone's like at lunch and the two of us just link up our Game Boys with a link cable and just go at it. And people were like, "Oh wow, this is crazy. This is super cool. Who's going to win this time?" Blah, blah, blah. And like our teams like never changed. Like it wouldn't be until way later that I ended up like getting into more like meta style stuff at the point of Pokemon Red and being a 5th grader. It was really just which ones that I think were cool and were worth being on a team. Surprisingly, I did catch on to like strength and weakness charts very easily, very quickly. So at least throughout the game, it wasn't just things I liked. It was things I liked that fit into a balanced team. So I always had an answer to something. And I was kind of grateful for that. It wasn't like I just like took after gym leaders or something and then be like, what gym leader do I want to be? Do I want to be a grass gym leader? So I just have a grass team, completely grass. Granted, I could do that after a while because I just liked raising things to level 100. But I would just always have a very well-balanced team, something where it's not too lilted in one way that I don't really have an answer if somebody put out a Pokemon I didn't really know how to respond to. But yeah, since then, it's just the rest is kind of history there. I remember I had Pokemon Red was my initial game. I did trade that away, like the actual game card, after I was done playing with like Pokemon or with my Game Boy Pocket and Color. When I got to like Game Boy Advance and stuff like that, I did trade away my Pokemon Red because I had just completely destroyed the card just from I'm not sure what it would be. Just I had chalked it up to like just catching Missingno way too many times or something, which is just a way to like duplicate items in your in your inventory, or at least look like encountering the Pokemon, the thing is it can multiply the 6 item in your item bag. But catching it isn't something you're supposed to do, which is really interesting that I knew any of that like at the time, because the internet really wasn't a thing. This was all just like schoolyard tales and rumors. It's crazy how much stuff like I knew about games back then, knowing that the circle was really just rumors and maybe 1 or 2 people that like were able to convince their parents to buy a GamePro or Nintendo Power magazine for them. It was just funny, like just thinking about that retroactively. But I knew that the game was not terribly playable, or it was hit or miss whether or not it would actually work. And one of my friends at the time was just like, yeah, I don't care if it's broken. I wouldn't mind trying to fix it. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. You can have that. And I traded away for a couple other games. I can't remember what the second one was, but one of them was Kirby Pinball Land. Good trade in my opinion, since I couldn't get the red card to work anyways. But Pokemon Gold after that, Ruby after that, Pearl for 4th gen, and then I can't quite remember. I know for the White and Black games, I got one of them. One of them was whatever the one I got for the first one isn't the one I got for the second one, since White and Black were the first game that wasn't like, we're gonna come out with a third iteration of the game, but it was just a sequel, and they came out with both of them. So did that. It's funny how like the most recent ones are the ones that I have a hard time remembering which version I got. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got Sun after that. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a gen. It's so embarrassing that like even just like the more recent ones are the ones that I can't remember. They're the ones closer to where I am today, but they're not the ones that I have like the most nostalgia for. But it was probably around the 4th gen, around that time, that I think I was in college at the time. And gosh, it's just so crazy like thinking about how like it always feels like they came out like a year and a half, like a year or two like after each other. But it's just there is a pretty significant time between each of these releases, and it's like the 1st gen I was in 5th grade, and then by 4th gen I was in college. These things just sort of travel that way. But a friend of mine in college, we got really into the Battle Subway, I think it was, in Gen 4. And it was either Gen 4 or Gen 5. And we'd like put together, we'd go just terribly out of our way to get like the perfect IV and EV trained Pokemon. Not EV as in the Pokemon, but EV as an effort value. And then use those Pokemon to do dual battles or double battles on the Battle Subway within the game. Which, oh my goodness, those were like crazy times. I actually still have notes here for some of them. Like it's just notes about how I trained certain things, or where I could get like how to get certain EVs or certain effort value points. I think my favorite one I made was a Machamp. It couldn't miss because of its Pokemon ability. It's called No Guard, so any move that it had would hit guaranteed, but it couldn't dodge anything. Like attacks couldn't miss it. So I gave it moves that were notoriously bad at hitting, but were really, really strong and had like really significant effects associated with them. So that was pretty cool. That was one of my favorite ones. A Mamoswine, Weevil, a Druddigon. That didn't really turn out too good. Porygon Z. I think that one was okay. It was a Super Glass Cannon. Tangrowth, which is kind of interesting. I thought I had a Salamence in here somewhere. Magnezone. Umbreon. That was a good one. I just have like tally marks here for like, I don't know, I could just show you. It's just like tracking like I how I did all that stuff. Just like what items I need to get the stats that I need or stat boosts that I need, how many times I should be battling other Pokemon out in the field, and putting together my move set that I want. And yeah, we just spend so much time, like it's just constantly like just back and forth texting, like it's like, how's your training going and stuff like that for all the EV training and things like that. It was silly how much time that we put into that, but that was probably one of the first times that I was like really in a competitive scene. Though I guess I was doing it in more of a cooperative setting. The battle subway isn't something where you're battling other people. You're battling an AI or a computer player. we just happened to really like the double battle setup and kind of the interesting curveballs that can throw at you, and what moves that you could use or explore that you wouldn't normally use in a single battle setting or a single Pokemon battle setting, which is pretty interesting. Yeah. Since then, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I can't help myself from getting excited about new Pokemon games. I really enjoy kind of that same prospect, and it's like the whole premise hasn't changed in all this time. When you get a Pokemon game, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into, and there's something kind of cozy about that. And still like really, really good. Like a lot of those, like even when I was getting into game design, I still have like a few pages of a notebook devoted to like my own like spin on a Pokemon game. Like one of the spin-off games that came out for the GameCube, I believe it was. Pokemon, I think it was Coliseum. I don't know what it's called. I'm gonna like forget. I think the subtitle was like Gale of Darkness or something. But I really liked the concept of being in a more not like catch 'em, raise 'em RPG type thing, but more like you're a character going through a world, and really focusing more on the story beats rather than the training a team and being a Pokemon master. And I'd put together like a concept that was like you're wished away to an island, and like all of the evil teams from all of the games like got together and stole the signature Pokemon from each gym leader for that game that they were in. So like that'd be like for Gen 1, Team Rocket would be taking like Brock's Onix and Misty's Starmie, and Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, so on and so forth. For each generation, that team would steal all of the gym leader signature Pokemon, and they take over those gyms of this island. And like it was just sort of this like mashup of all of the regions, and you got to battle like all of the evil teams, and they're sort of them being their gym leaders. And when you beat them and the signature Pokemon that they had stolen, that you'd go to get them back to the gym leader who they were from, and they'd say, you know what, actually hold on to that so that you can keep using that Pokemon like throughout the rest of the game. And that would be the primary way that you build out your team. It's not so much like catch them all, but like save the ones that like have had some kind of significant that were kind of an effect on people. Like when you think about those games, if you're like particularly tied to them, like I still am to an extent, you remember like those gym battles and the Pokemon that gave you the hardest time like growing up. And the concept of actually being gifted that Pokemon to essentially save the world was a pretty cool concept to me when I was growing up, and it was just enough for me to basically design like a game out of it prior to me actually getting into game design. It was like a Pokemon, it was like a game design fan fiction, essentially. I still think it'd be kind of a neat concept to explore. I think even in that game, I had like explored the concept of a triple battle before a triple battle was even a thing in the Pokemon series. I was surprised when it did come out finally, and I was like, oh, that's like exactly what I was thinking of. So it was kind of neat seeing that. A little bit of a, like, it feels good from my perspective being like, okay, cool, like my design ideas aren't stupid, even like Nintendo or the Pokemon company are doing it, or Game Freak are doing it. But it was kind of neat. So it kind of, yeah, it just sort of like encouraged me to keep playing these games. They just filled with so much nostalgia, and in addition to like introducing me to kind of like a competitive mindset for games for like one of the first times through like a cooperative environment, and then just sort of encouraging me to make my own worlds, it kind of got me interested in game design in a sense too, which led or directed a lot of my life up to where I am. Not that I'm doing it like professionally or anything, but it definitely got me to where I am from like a development perspective. So I guess it's this little thing and the games that are associated with it actually did quite a bit to get me to where I am. It's kind of neat the effect that some games can have on you. I feel like it doesn't happen as much like as I get older and it's not as impressionable, or because I just don't have like all the time in the world to literally at my own birthday party just not talk to anybody, take that Game Boy, plug it into the wall, and sit there and ignore everybody for like 8 hours. Even after that party, I did not leave that wall. I just kept playing. But that was just the kind of kid I was, I suppose. Anyway, hopefully that was at least an enjoyable little bit of my own kind of nostalgia and stories, and maybe it even reminded you a little bit of kind of why you like Pokemon or why you were super interested in it, and maybe reminded you a little bit of just how kind of neat the game was from where it came from, or I guess it really was when it came from. Thinking of times as places now, and maybe it kind of helped you grow a little bit too, in the same way that it helped me sort of figure out some of the things that I enjoyed about games, and just thinking about how games work, and that these kind of concepts can be built upon by just about anybody. You can take a game design concept, spin it, and make it your own. Very interesting stuff. Anyway, that's enough rambling for me for one day about one game. We'll probably return to this at some point, not Pokemon specifically, but other games whenever I'm feeling like chatting about it on a Friday. So we'll call it at that. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.